I want to inquire regarding selling tobacco products such as vapes and CBD from an Islamic point of view. Where does the Sharia stand on such a topic? Could you please prevent? Um, I'm sorry? I spoke about this, right? I guess I'll just talk about CBD, and because I haven't spoken about that previously. Where does the Sharia stand? Could you please prevent specific evidence? Okay. So tobacco I had spoken about previously, so it depends on where you stand on your ruling concerning tobacco. And as far as CBD is concerned, so the thing with marijuana is there are two major components to it that are utilized. There's a CBD component and there's a THC component. The THC component is haram because it actually causes what's the word? Intoxication. It actually causes intoxication. There are some medical uses for it, which I understand because the only other alternative for that is like OxyContin and OxyContin type of derivatives. So in light of that, OxyContin is actually very addictive, and it can lead not only to intoxication but to poor decision making. In those situations, I would actually prefer THC to be used. As far as CBD is concerned, I don't know. You have to make sure that the THC content is missing in those. That's the only issue and the only problem I have. And because CBD is not completely regulated, I don't know the percentages and the amounts. CBD in and of itself, which is just cannabis oil, I can't see a problem or an issue with it. The only problem can be is depending if there's any THC content in that. But you know, I would say as of right now, it's better to avoid it, and Allah knows best. If you walk in late to a congregational prayer, specifically Fajr, between the ruku' and the sujood on the second rak'ah, and everyone is reciting the tashahhud, should you follow them in reciting tashahhud? Yes, you should recite the tashahhud and then get up and complete the next two rak'ah. What if the Qibla app showed us the direction wrong? My brother already started praying. What is the best approach? Should I move the musalla or let him finish? The moment that you find out that the Qibla direction is off, you should adjust your brother, right? You should adjust your brother. So if he's praying, if you find out, like he's already started praying and you find out that the direction is wrong, go and just turn him, right? It's just a matter of turning him and adjusting him, inshallah. That's not a problem. I'm sorry? A sister, you can tell her, like, turn to the left a little bit or turn to the right a little bit. You know, I can't imagine a situation, though, where like, if it's just you and the sister, there are bigger problems, right? What is the meaning of flood water? Flood water, I would imagine that this is water that has... I'm imagining this question is because of wudu. Can I make wudu with flood water? And the answer is because it's a large amount of water, as long as you do not, as long as it doesn't smell of najasa, it doesn't taste of najasa, and the color isn't of najasa, it's okay. Can it be muddy and still make wudu? Yes, right? Mud is something it's naturally occurring. Can there be sticks? Yeah, these are things that are naturally occurring. But if any of these three characteristics are changed, then you cannot use it for wudu. This next question is two parts. I am a male. If I woke up and saw that there was fluid in my private areas, however, it was extremely minute quantity, was I still in is this hadath al-akbar? I would consider this to be many. I would consider that you had a wet dream and that you should take ghusl. Later that day, oh man. So what happened here? Now I need to read the whole question. And I saw that there was fluid. It was an extremely... Am I still in a state or is Hadath al-Asghar? No, you actually... This is Hadath al-Akbar, and you have to take ghusl, because it's most likely that you had a wet dream. Later that day, I led a congregation for Salat al-Dhuhr. I had wudu because I assumed it was a minute quality, and I had forgotten about it, and you led those people in prayer. So if you have access to those people... Oh, and this took place a year ago. Allahu Akbar. Their prayer is valid. You have to make up your prayer again, inshallah. Because of the passage of time and you don't have access to them, their prayer, inshallah, is valid, and it's fine because you did it mistakenly. But if you had access to them, you would have to tell them, and everybody would have to pray again. As far as you individually are concerned, yes, you would have to repeat your prayer again. Salam Sheikh, how do we know how to pick a madhab? We live by this principle of recognizing that all four are correct. However, what is your advice on being able to confidently pick one? My suggestion is to pick the madhab of the scholar you have access to and who you are learning from. That's the easiest way. If you have access to a Hanafi sheikh, then be Hanafi. If you have access to a Shafi'i sheikh, then be Shafi'i. This is not something that we need to be very rigid about, right? And if we understand that the madhahib are all correct, then how do I choose the one? I choose the one that I have access to. I really like Shafi'i madhab in regards to its academic strength. However, the skin-to-skin breaking wudu is something that I just can't understand, and it does not sit well with me. Just because I follow a madhab doesn't mean I have to follow every single mas'ala or every single issue in the madhab. No, right? I can ascribe to a particular madhab, but it's okay if I disagree with specific issues. I have to ask myself why I'm disagreeing, though. I think that's something that's really important. So if I have access to the different arguments and those different issues, and I feel that one issue is stronger in another madhab, then that's not a problem. That's not an issue. What is the response to people who say, I am not Hanafi or Maliki or any madhab, I am Muslim, I follow the Quran and the Sunnah? May Allah bless them. What is the response to people who say, it's just a Sunnah, you don't have to follow it? Don't say that. Don't say that. Because you could be belittling something that the Prophet ﷺ did. You can say, this is something I don't do, and I'm okay with that. Or this is something that I don't follow, I'm okay with that. But saying it's just a sunnah, like this is a type of belittlement, and we should avoid speaking like that or saying that. Does a person get more reward for growing a beard, even though they look less appealing because their beard is not nice? The Prophet ﷺ said, Al-ajr ala qadr al-mashaqqa, right? He didn't say, Al-ajr ala qadr al-jamal. So, I don't know. Maybe this could be considered a hardship because you feel it doesn't look nice. But yeah, if my intention is to follow the Prophet ﷺ, if my intention is to imitate him, if my intention is to be like him, then of course there's going to be a reward for that. Does halal meat have to be slaughtered, or is machine slaughter fine? I think this is more of a modern difference of opinion on the hand slaughter or the machine slaughter. But basically, the idea is that you cannot have a tool to cut independently, and I think that's the idea. And if you have a tool that cuts independently, then it has to be hand slaughtered, which is why you have people who say that you have to use, like a person has to use the knife itself. But as far as I'm concerned, a knife is a wasila, right? A knife is a means, and the machine is also a means. So I personally don't see the difference, but I think that's the argument, right? Because if the machine independently slaughters, it's not actually a person doing it. And I think that's kind of the thought process behind it. My response is like, oh, well, if I have somebody who's manning the machine and who's overseeing the machine, then it serves the same purpose is served, and Allah knows best. طيب سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك واشهد ان لا اله الا انت استغفرك واتوب اليك.